What up, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their Sunday fun day. I am probably driving at this point. Yeah, probably. Have a work trip. It's cool. It's cool. So yeah, it'll be a pretty long couple of days, but well worth it. Got some time to kill this Saturday morning. I had to take my car to the shop, so I have a little time to kill before I head to Spring for tonight's Reality of Wrestling debut in Spring, Texas. Yeah, it's already too late, but it was at the Klein ISD Multiplex, I believe. Don't quote me. RealityWrestling.com will have details. Probably also will have details about October 30th when we return to Nacogdoches, Texas. Pretty solid crowd last time, expecting quite a good turnout this go around, as well as I'm expecting a good turnout for Spring. Man, seemingly every week I have to give some condolences. So I want to give my condolences to Bill DeMott, who recently lost his daughter. Another tragedy. I just hate. Hate is not a strong word for this. I do hate hearing about tragedy. You know, it's just you never want to hear about someone having to go through that, or someone enduring tragedy. So yeah. As always, just really didn't know what the topic was going to be up until the announcement from TMZ. But before I get into the main point of the video, just a couple takeaways from a couple of things. Let's see. Raven on Steve Austin's on the Steve Austin Show podcast, brilliant. Really enjoy hearing his take. Anyone knows Raven's one of the smartest guys in the business, and quite the psychologist on many different levels, but really knows his stuff. Really have always enjoyed his work, the Raven character and whatnot, the evolution of it, you know, the many phases that it's gone through. But great to hear his insight on the business and what he believes, and I think he had a lot of valid points. You know, I agree with a lot of what he said, and probably have the same mindset when it comes to a lot of the stuff, but it's always great to hear someone's take on the business, especially someone with the resume that he has, not just in front of the camera but behind the camera. Just a wealth of knowledge. I did listen to the Hogan interview with Flair on Flair's podcast. That was decent. It was decent. Yeah, I'm trying to think any other podcasts. I mean, I listen to like First and Take pretty much daily. I'll listen to, of course, Fat Man on Batman. Really like their utility belt stuff. I mean, there are a couple here and there that, you know, the off ones, like when Serial was out, I was listening to that one weekly. You know, I probably jumped on the bandwagon after the fact once it started to pick up some steam, but do like that. And there's a few others like Nerdist and Mark Maron and whatnot. So yeah, so there's that. Walking Dead season premiere was awesome. I've been a fan of it, as many people know, since its debut. I read the trades. It just really was excellent. I liked it. I liked the flashing back. You're kind of curious how long a event like that, you know, kind of that, the cars lining up the roads and the walls being built and all that. You wonder how long that would have took. You know, 6 months, a year. Like how long did it take? Because again, they tried to give you some sense, but still, you're kind of curious. Good to see Ethan Emery on the show, even if it was for one episode. Sorry, spoiler, but if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sure, you know, sorry. Also good so far. I liked, really enjoyed American Horror Story, episode 2. Another 90-minute show, man. Whew, that's crazy. That's crazy. Let me think what else. Caught up with Last Man on Earth. I'm really enjoying that show. We are officially caught up with that. And Blind Spot, I'm 2 episodes in. And liking it so far. I like the concept, the take on it. Again, there's others like Heroes Reborn. Haven't really, I think I saw the first, the 2 hour. Haven't seen an episode since. Still haven't caught The Leftovers. I'm still behind on that one. What else is there that I know I'm gonna remember it later? But for right now, I can't quite remember because there's a whole lot of wrestling that I've been watching. And before I get into another thing, a pretty big step towards the further mainstreaming, I guess, is what you would call it. But WWE working its way into the mainstream. The fact that they're going to be partnering up with ESPN and being able to do a weekly segment on SportsCenter, that's a pretty huge step. I mean, whether it's 6 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever have you, as long as they're kind of in the vocabulary of SportsCenter or ESPN, and it's not a kind of tongue-in-cheek thing. You know, kudos to Jonathan Coachman. I think he was one of the ones who spearheaded it on ESPN's side. And kudos to WWE for landing the spot. Definitely a good, positive move in the right direction, obviously. And yeah, that's great. And great to have Seth Rollins being showcased in the very first segment. People can talk about the ratings, but this is definitely a positive. I may talk about the ratings depending on how they go, because you know they can ebb and flow. We'll see how next Monday goes. I mean, they're really packing that card, at least with appearances from legends, which can be hit or miss depending. As far as on the one hand, that's great to see, you know, legends out there. On the other, you know, you would hope that the current roster could bring forth some interest from people, and that the ratings wouldn't dip the way they've dipped. You know, you could say what it is. You know, there are probably a variety of reasons. I'll have to give it some thought before I really address it, but it's interesting. But again, kudos to WWE for getting on SportsCenter. So yeah, before I get into it, I will say this. I really enjoyed seeing the New Day in the first, you know, like first half hour of the show, pretty much. Yeah, I think they were like they were on there for at least 30-35 minutes, possibly. I mean, with the match that went over on Orton and Ambrose, the promo was great. I think, you know, Orton trying not to laugh about it was definitely pretty cool. New Day continues to knock it out of the park, and you continue to be really entertained by them. At least I'm entertained by them. So they rock, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm enjoying where they're going. They're giving them some level of legitimacy. Some people may have a problem with that, but change is inevitable, people, and eventually you need your characters to evolve. You don't want them to get stale, and sometimes you just have to hit it while it's hot. And at least WWE's embracing them and putting them in the forefront, as opposed to some people that they don't. This is a definite win for them, and support the New Day because they're a good act, they're a hot act, and you want to reward good work. Like I mentioned, they have socks. I don't know who else has socks. They'd probably have to go to WWEshop.com. That's the only plug they'll get. I'll have to look at the socks, but the New Day ones, man, I might have to sport those. And if I do, I will, you know, show them on the air. At least, like, hold them up or something like that. Anyway, so TMZ reports Lana and Rusev are engaged. I guess Lana posted it on Instagram or on social media, and it got out there. Considering she was using her social media to kind of help further some storylines, you know, as far as like, which I'll get into in a moment, but you know, the stuff with Summer while she was hurt. And I was curious as to what WWE was going to do, because like most TMZ reports, it blew up. And now it was like, well, what are they going to do? Because in the storyline, they're broken up. What are they going to do? Oh my God. And enough noise was made that I guess WWE had to respond. And boy, how they responded. Kind of got people talking. What are you going to do with the Rusev and Summer Rae and Ziggler? Like, wait a minute. Now, before I get into the crux of it, I will give Ziggler and Cena kudos. One of the best matches, at least in WWE for that week. Really good back and forth. I kind of saw the breadcrumbs of change, I guess, for Ziggler, as far as like the headbutt and kind of taking a shortcut here or there. Oh my God! Even though, hey, you're trying to win. I thought the match was good. If ultimately your hope is that you put it on Ziggler, maybe Ziggler winning, coming out of all this stuff, maybe that would have been the way to go. Like, he wins the title and then has to defend it at Hell in a Cell against Cena, and if Cena is ultimately taking time off, then maybe Cena comes in as the challenger, and then that's when Ziggler really kind of pulls the trigger if they're going to turn him heel, which I think he's probably better suited, only because the show-off personality probably would work. Now, you know, where would he fall within the pecking order of heels? He'd probably be right about where he is within the hierarchy of faces. I mean, he's right, same level. It wouldn't go, I don't think he'd elevate above Owens necessarily. I hate to say that. He's kind of below Owens to some degree, because he's contending for titles. He's not an actual champion, for one. And I do like Owens' work. But anyway, back to Ziggler. I don't know. I would have liked him to have gone over. I mean, a match where, I don't know, he didn't really quite pull the trigger. He could have pulled the trigger during Cena stopping the match to congratulate. He probably had to address it because the fans were going wild for the proposal. And what a proposal to do it on a Monday Night Raw in an arena full of people. You know, you can tell your grandkids that John Cena and Dolph Ziggler were in attendance for the proposal, as well as the rest of the WWE universe, and hopefully that grandchild will be like, oh yeah, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler. You know, anyway, I do a bad child impression. But I digress. A good match, although I wish they made the change, only because, again, if John is ultimately leaving, when is he leaving? I guess that's what, if he actually is taking time off, I don't know. You could say he's going to take time off and he's going to be gone for X amount of months or weeks or whatever, and he'll come back faster. He'll come back the next week. So, we'll see. I don't know. I mean, those are reports, those are rumors, nothing's set in stone yet. I mean, there are reports again, but I don't know. I would have liked to have seen Ziggler going over. So, back to the TMZ thing. It was a report, so it had to be addressed, I guess, because it again, blew up. What's WWE going to do? And in this day and age, that's where they're at. They have to respond to everything. And, well, I mean, they're selective with their responding. I mean, a report comes out that Renee Young and Dean Ambrose are dating. And because they're not really doing anything, not involved in a storyline, she's not involved in a romance, he's not involved in a romance. You really, you don't see Dean hooking up or even making advances at any of the divas. And same thing with Renee. She doesn't really make any advances at any of the male talent. So again, different scenario. I guess. Again, they've used TMZ in the past, and if it makes enough noise, and if it makes noise in a negative way, there are repercussions. You look at the firing. I mean, a report comes out about Zara. This report comes out. It starts to carry the storm, blows up to some degree, and WWE has no choice but to let her go or pick Hogan. TMZ report comes out. Next thing you know, there's no more Hogan on our WWE television. So they have reacted to stuff in the past if it makes enough noise and puts the company, puts the company in a bad light. Now, if the reports are true, first off, let's before I go any further, I talked about a proposal, and congratulations to that couple. What a way to propose, dude. Wow, you even got John Cena's blessing, so to speak. So I mean, they'll use it when it makes enough noise. And this was a pretty significant storyline. Say what you will, people have their opinions of it. I was on record that I enjoyed it, especially with Lana involved, because of the reaction that they were getting. Her and Summer, their stare downs and physicality, it was getting over. And shining brighter than the actual male guys, than Ziggler and Rusev, which, again, people can complain, but the audience ultimately can dictate. And here was an example where the female equation was outdoing the male equation, in my opinion. And I felt like the storyline lost something when Lana got hurt. Again, if the reports are true, well, before that, like I mentioned, congratulations to Lana and Rusev on their engagement. Man, that's huge. They've been together for a while, or shortly after getting put together. I don't know, different reports. I'm not too sure about the nature of their relationship, or how long it's been going on, or if it was going on beforehand, or if whatever have you. But again, congratulations. This is a happy occasion. Again, much like the couple on Raw. I mean, a happy occasion. Congratulations, celebration. It's great. But if they'd been engaged for a month, and your talent working within the company, you work together, and there's a change in the status of the relationship. It's no longer a dating relationship. Now it's an engagement. It's a bigger step. You should have told, like, at least Human Resources. I mean, that's any corporation. Folks, that's how it is. I mean, corporations typically have a dating policy. Any company has a dating policy. So WWE's no different, and they've made changes here or there to their dating policy, but they don't, I mean, it is what it is. So if they didn't make mention of it, and this is the first that they're hearing about it, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because I just don't know if that's the case. But again, if they failed to tell their bosses that they were getting married, and then this report broke out, I could understand why Vince and the writing staff would have a bit of an issue. Because again, they put some time and effort into this storyline. How flawed it is not, it's not debatable, because there is, well, it is debatable because there is some debate about it. Again, I felt it lost its way once Lana left with injury. So again, I was curious on Monday what they were going to do, and well, they did something even before it. They had Ziggler make an announcement, or at least address it. 30 seconds, 45 seconds, not very long, and seemingly if Ziggler's going to turn heel, that's the start of it. I would say it started before, because here was the thing about the storyline. I understand as a male talent, if you bring in females, how you could feel maybe envious of the reaction they're getting because you're putting in all the work, all the physicality. You're trying to, you know, show that you're a guy that they can rely on and could give more responsibility to, and this and that. And Ziggler's career within WWE has had its highs and definitely has had its lows. I mean, he becomes World Heavyweight Champion, cashing in Money in the Bank, and then next thing you know, he's injured with a concussion that really thwarts his reign. And probably ultimately did cause an issue, you know, with WWE's trust in him. Now, again, he's had moments, like being the sole survivor at Survivor Series. He's done this or that. And he's been the ladies' man here and there. I mean, he's had quite many relationships. You look at Dean Ambrose, again, I mentioned him before. Nothing really, if you think about it. Roman Reigns, same thing. You know, like, I think all those Shield guys, they don't have any romantic interest in, you know, any of the female talent. Whatever. Ziggler, on the other hand, wow, guy's popular with the ladies. I got no problem with it. But his reaction, again, I looked at him having some issue maybe. Because he's one of these guys, again, he gets women fairly easy. That's at least the, that's at least what I get from it. How he carries himself when it comes to the ladies and when they, you know, when they walk away. He seems pretty okay with it. Oh, we had our time. She's moved on. It was good for her, obviously. Well, how good was it? She went back to the guy. But, again, you were probably the rebound. I don't know. I think it kind of... There was the instance where he was on the special, she had just gotten hurt, and he had the tights, and he had her face on her face was superimposed on his crotch, you know, like that's where her picture was. And I thought, man, that's not really a babyface move. Like Rick Rude did that, you know, and really well. But he's a heel. Like that's kind of a douchey move, man. I don't know, you know, like I might put images, but I don't know if I'd put something, you know, a woman's face on my crotch, unless, again, I'm a heel. Like, that's a heel move. But you are heel Ziggler, that is your Twitter handle. Anyway, so he was kind of nonchalant about it. So again, you were kind of curious how they were going to proceed with it. Made enough noise, and you saw it. Rusev jobs out to Ryback in 3 minutes. He has his moments, but ultimately goes down to Ryback, and then he gets, you know, kind of read the riot act by Summer Rae, and, you know, wow, like, gets slapped and kind of, you know, and rightfully so, like, she should have that reaction. Now you wish she had that reaction before the match, or, you know, like, it walked away right away. Like, they could have, I don't know, I think, what if they had done that? Like, and then she says all this stuff, slaps him, and then Ryback, you know, he turns around and here's Ryback. I don't know, you know, again, logistically, they wanted to give Ryback the win because he's the #1 contender, and I get it. Again, however, I was fine with the execution. I think knee-jerk reaction, I'm like, wow, that's the knee-jerk reaction. And what does it matter? Like, what's reported? Does it matter? Isn't it a television show? Vince, don't you write movies? They're characters. Fictional characters. Because I don't quite get it. Because, speaking of Ziggler, there was hype for the Total Divas season finale, where even though he's supposedly dating Lana, he tries to hook up with Nikki, who is John Cena's chick. You know, I mean, it's on the show, and they're seen, and they take pictures together, this, that, and the other. They've been together for a while. Ziggler again pulls off, wow, you know, kind of a ballsy move. I mean, the top guy in the company, and you're trying to take his woman, or at least make a play for her, even though you were there first, and kudos to you for getting there. But again, you're okay with that, and you don't admonish him for it, but you admonish Rusev for getting engaged. Like it, and again, I hope coming out of it that they do put Rusev and Lana together, and that he gets back to his winning ways, because I think he's a hell of a talent. I think they're a great couple. I think they're a great duo. They worked really well together, and I think they highlighted each other's strengths. And I really enjoyed the duo, and I don't feel like Ziggler needed a chick. I think he's the guy that doesn't need a girl. Heel or face. Like, now if you're going to turn him heel and you want to give him a woman, that would, you know, that could potentially work. I mean, when he was with AJ and Big E and whatnot. I mean, I like that trio. And the times that he's been, you know, with like Vicky Guerrero and other things. But I don't think he needed the woman. And again, it was a way of helping showcase and everyone, probably mainly Lana within it. I think Lana was like the focal point of it, because you kind of saw her evolution. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because that's what wrestling is. We do have to worry about the social media aspect and reports on the internet and all of that, and that can kind of change the way the shows are looked at. I mean, no one had a problem with Dexter or Michael C. Hall and Jennifer Carpenter being married in real life and playing brother and sister on Dexter. No one seemed to have a problem with it. I didn't hear some outrage over it. Again, it was a different time. It was years ago. But this is where we're at. But I don't think Walking Dead would have the same problem. You know, like if two castmates hooked up and even though on the show they, you know, shouldn't be. You don't really run into that conundrum anywhere else. But in wrestling, especially WWE, especially as they try to continue to be mainstream and then utilize TMZ to a point, it's just further proof, like, hey, again, back to Lana and Rusev, if you are engaged and you work for a corporation, the best thing to do, especially if you're coworkers, is tell that corporation tell your bosses, hey, by the way, we tied the knot, or we made the next step, bended knee and whatnot, you know, so that they didn't catch them off guard. But if anything else, let's just say that WWE did know. Maybe they did know about this, and the reports are false, because you never know about backstage reports. I always take them with a grain of salt, regardless of who's reporting it. It's always, you never know. You can have your sources, but being inside it is probably a different story. I think maybe they knew about it, potentially, and they're like, well, this is what we're going to have to do. At some point, it's going to get reported. So, maybe we need to pull the trigger. Yeah, let's pull the trigger. Because if you think about it, it benefits everyone to a degree. I mean, and it's a good way to end it, because again, I think it lost its footing. You could probably send Rusev away for a little bit. Maybe. I would think. You'd probably send him away. Until Lana's back, ready to come back, I think you could probably take him away for a bit, unless you wanted him to lose a little bit as he transitions from, you know, indestructible monster to, you know, human. Okay, fine. But I think it benefits them because it puts them two back together. Hopefully that's what WWE does. Maybe they plan the big wedding. Maybe you have the big, you know, whoever's Rusev's next opponent, he destroys it, because the weddings never go well in WWE. But either way, probably puts them together. You know, Summer Rae gets some sympathy because she was the other woman, even though she was the other woman to begin with, the rebound chick. He went back to his ex. Happens. It's comment, but hopefully they give her a good little nudge coming out of this and she becomes this positive role model, or she remains kind of heelish, kind of the scorned woman. She could always play that role, and I think she would do it well. And I think Ziggler, it helps. It dirties him up a little bit. He could kind of transition. I think that, coupled with other things, maybe the time is right for a change. I don't know. Heel face moves, sometimes it can, it's all about timing. You have to hit it at the right time. So yeah. So yeah, man, I was alright with it. I'm curious what they're gonna do. Yeah, I'm curious where they go from here. I will say another takeaway from Raw as I wrap up, and the other stuff for the of the week, at least wrestling related. The "We Want Sasha" chants, that was great. Although for Naomi and Nikki, that's cool. At least, I mean, real recognizing real, so to speak, or the fans recognizing the talent that Sasha Banks has is great, and I hope for big things for her as well as the other 4 horsewomen, as well as all women in wrestling. I think it's a good time for everyone. Got to put in the work. I mean, it's changing. As far as the NXT women have really raised the bar for professional wrestling for women. Now, TNA, the knockouts, I will give Gail Kim, Austin Kong their respect, as well as a lot of the knockouts from Angelina Love to Madison Rayne, to Taryn Terrell, to Jade, to Marty, to Brooke. I mean, the knockouts division as a whole, ODB, if I'm missing someone, Tracy Brooks back in the day. I mean, I enjoyed her work. But I like the evolution, and I like where they're going. It feels like there's a lot of positive momentum, especially in NXT, which I think will be the driving force of WWE moving forward. You look at it, you look at the people that have come out of NXT, and what NXT's doing as a product. Man, I think it's just a good step in the right direction, and I think, even though they are taking a hit with ratings, maybe this is a wake-up call, hopefully, especially if the ratings continue to dip. I'm going to always be a fan of it. I don't hate watch it. I don't hate watch anything. If I don't enjoy something, I just don't watch it. If I lose interest in it, I don't have any desire to continue to watch it. So I am genuinely entertained by WWE. I don't have any problem with WWE as a whole. I don't have any problem with what they do, because it's their company, it's their interpretation of what the wrestling business is. You could have opinions about it. My thing is, if I'm not going to enjoy it, I'm not going to watch it. And I watch Raw, and for the most part, even on the most pedestrian shows, within 3 hours, that's potentially maybe you could get a good 30-minute morsel out of it. But there are enough elements within WWE that work for me, that like the New Day, or like the Divas Revolution, or getting to see Dean and Roman, and the maturation of Bray, and the Wyatts, and the tag team division. Like everything that's out there, like I see a lot more good than bad. But again, if fans aren't buying the product, or they're watching it after the fact, who knows? Maybe maybe the numbers are down, but DVR does pretty well. Who knows? I don't know. The same can be said for TNA. A lot of people make so much issue about the ratings, and really the ratings do drive the TV model. I understand that. But it's a different time, it's a different age. But with saying that, ratings are important, especially when they're, you can tell. Like, even people complain about Walking Dead's season premiere not doing as well as last year, I think. But still raking in great numbers, and it's like, wow, but they're still raking in great numbers. Like, I understand you're concerned about a slide. WWE goes through its dips and dunks, and this is about the time of year where it happens like that. But if it's historic, well, maybe it is time to change it. But again, you got NXT. I think when they throw in new elements, the best thing to do is to just to catch on, hold on to that, and try to show as vocally as humanly possible. Especially like the guys that are working Cena, start cheering for the guy that's working Cena and not the guy, not Cena. Like, don't do let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Like, cheer whoever else he's in the ring with, so that maybe WWE will pay attention. But the thing is that once they stop facing John, you have to continue to be loud with them. Like, we want Sasha, don't think that doesn't go unheard. I believe it does, and I think give it some time, you're going to see Sasha getting that more of a push. But I think she's getting a great push because look at the reaction she's getting and what they're doing with her. I think it's really good. So, last few takeaways. TNA, Robbie E beats Eddie Edwards. Robbie E is not, you know, the guy that no one expects to win. I like it, man. Kudos to him. I like seeing Rude and Storm go at it, and Rude to get the win. I do miss Beer Money, and I mean Storm is you know, did NXT. We don't know what the future holds for him, but again, I guess they're in talks. Much like he's probably in talks with TNA, but who knows? I think, you know, maybe the move would be the right move, and hopefully Bobby Roode follows suit at some point, and maybe they team up. Because I would like to see Beer Money, or that some iteration of those two tagging up at WWE to see what they could do. I mean, the merch that they could probably sell would be pretty good if they let them be Beer Money. That remains to be seen. I thought the build for the match was good. I thought the match was really solid, but what do you expect from these two? Let's see. You know, funny thing about Rude, he did do a PWA show, and he lost to VIP. So VIP has beaten Bobby Roode. That is something, you know, a feather in his cap. That's a pretty big deal. However, VIP has probably never truly recovered from the bitch slap he received from MVP, also at a PWA show. I wonder why VIP never got his comeuppance. Anyway, a few other takeaways. ROH, ACH versus Matt Sydal. I thought that was a great match. I posted the thrust kick or flash kick for from ACH. That was really what was my focus. The brain buster after the fact and the attempted 450 were quite impressive, but that kick, the thrust kick, I think you called it thrust kick or flash kick, man, ACH is a phenomenal athlete, man. I think he's really just on a whole nother level, and it's good to see him getting, you know, getting on the climb at ROH. So good to see him there. SmackDown, again, the soap opera continues, seemingly are continuing that push that I talked about earlier. It looks like Ziggler, a little more heelish, but wanted to be on his own, and Summer Rae, you know, kind of like empowered, and you know, but at the same time heelish because she caused Rusev the loss, and Rusev getting the loss on you know, from Ziggler, and who knows, maybe that's the end of it. You don't know. You never know. Or come back Monday and they continue until Hell in the Cell. Who knows? We don't know. But I thought, you know, hey, good use. Maybe that was the end. That's what we're doing. That was going to be our de facto end at some point anyway. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know. We weren't in the writing meetings. But anyway, good match between Neville and Cesaro against Sheamus and Barrett. Sheamus and Barrett got the win. But I thought that match was pretty good. I thought Cesaro had a good showing and whatnot. Really enjoyed and enjoy Kevin Owens' fights and performances, even against Zack Ryder. Speaking of Zack Ryder, even though he got, you know, he was pretty competitive against Owens, I will say this, I think he was really ahead of his time, if you think about it, as far as, you know, the social media craze that WWE's in now. I think, you know, in small part was spearheaded probably by a guy like Zack Ryder. I mean, if you think about what he would do on YouTube and what WWE does now, and just the social media component, how important it is to WWE at this time. So, you know, in some part, man, Zack Ryder, innovator. And on NXT, I'm interested in Bayley versus Bliss. Definitely, I want to see what those two style-wise do. And so yeah, I'm interested in that. And I enjoyed the Battle Royal for the most part. And it was good to see Apollo Crews get the win. Wasn't expected. Thought they would have gone with Joe, but Joe and Tyler Breeze, that being a matchup, has loads of potential, man. I'm really kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with that. And God, if Apollo Crews and Finn Balor, I'm curious how that match would turn out if in fact that is the match that they go with, which they could go with. Wow, could be something. Anyway, so yeah, that's about all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed this. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Watch your football, whatnot. If you haven't caught Reality Wrestling on the CW, it's on the CW every Sunday at 11 a.m. Don't forget, October 30th, we are at Nacogdoches. And if you happen to see me there or at any shows, even though I'm backstage for the most part, hey, man, say hello. Hope all is well on your end. As I always like to say, stay cool, stay sexy, stay classy. Continue to enjoy the ride. Sunday fun day or one day a week. Make it your fun day. But until next time, later.